Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about baby. Yeah. Do we really need managers? Will we be better off without this role on a project? This is a question I definitely had a couple of times in my career. Hopefully, one of these days I get in a managerial role myself. I really want to know whether or not this role is actually needed. I really want to know what's the emphasis on this role and why it's so important in the intricate and intertwined of like building out software and building out a project and deliverables and so on. When I can do this myself, I can manage myself, and I can deliver and all these things, and I can get questions answered myself. So let's get into it. There's actually an article that I found, and I want to discuss that because Google had the same question as I did, and pretty much the title of this article is Google tried to prove managers don't matter. Instead, it discovered 10 traits of the very best ones. So let's go over that article. And that was created actually, 2019. So pretty much the article starts off, it's not every day you learn of a really smart company setting out to prove that managers don't matter. But that's exactly what Google did with Project Oxygen. So the hypothesis was that the quality of the managers doesn't matter, and the managers at best a necessary evil, and at worst a useless layer of bureaucracy. The early work of Project Oxygen in 2002 included a radical experiment, a move to a flat organization without any managers. Pretty much the experiment was a disaster. Boom. As you can see, only lasting a few months as the search giants found employees were left without direction and guidance on the most basic questions and needs. Pretty much, the Google pivot. It was like, let's put these managers back in, and then boom, let's see what actually makes a good manager. Because now we didn't have managers, let's put them back in because we messed up. We screwed up. My bad. They save you all the time of these 10 characteristics because they got 10 characteristics. I think there's only really good 5 traits. And maybe the other ones are almost like a given. You should be doing those things. But I think these are the key ones, personally, are really good traits of being a great manager. So number 2, empower teams and don't micromanage. So as it says in the article, absolutely no one likes to be micromanaged. I don't like to be micromanaged. I don't need to tell me hey, you got that done? You say in an hour ago, you said you were getting it done. Yeah, I said I was going to respond back to you in an hour, and it's 59 minutes. Give me a minute. All right. All right. So research from empowerment experts Gretchen Spitzer. Yeah, that's a really awesome name. Shows that the empowered employees have higher job satisfaction. Oh my gosh, why I can't say that word? What's going on? Satisfaction, satisfaction. Boom, there it is. I was like satisfaction. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on today. And empowered employees had higher satisfaction, organizational commitment, which reduce turnover, increase performance and motivation. Also, supervisors who empower are seen as more influential and inspired by their subordinates. Everyone wins when they learn to let go. And I definitely agree with that. Instead of, giving more processes and say, hey, you need to do this at this thing or that time, let the team figure out how they can reorganize and organize themselves and come up with the questions for themselves so they can get answers ultimately. So I'm really big on that. And one of the things for sure is I empower our team also to create documentation so that other people can use that documentation, other developers, to be able to, speed line that process and make it super easy. I like these one pagers. Those are really great. That helps me continue to answer questions all the time. So the next one I think is really important is be productive and result oriented. So, take productivity of your employees serious and give them the tools to be productive and keeping the number of process to a minimum. Pretty much I just said this. Ask the right question. How can they make this easier for them in the near future? Then come up with the documentation where they can figure out how they can streamline that process. Rather than you putting in a process and them trying to utilize that process, have them organize a process that will ultimately work best for them. I think that's really, really, really important because ultimately what we're trying to do is not include more processes or include more things that will bog them down, like more meetings and so on. It's that's not the goal. What we're trying to do is build software and do it at high quality and deliver something that's ultimately is going to be great for the customer. Those are the results that we want. No more meetings, pretty much. Give them more head down work, give them more focus on what they need to do. So I definitely agree with that. All right, the other one I like to go to is be a good communicator. So that's number 5 on this list, and listen and share information. I think is really great thing to know. So like being a manager, I feel like you have to have a really good big picture of things, and also you need to know how to redirect them to information, because yeah, you might not know some information here, but hey, you know where to find this information and you can direct them to it. Not only that, but also listening to the pain points in regards to developers or engineers when they're building stuff. I think that's really important, because like ultimately it's like if you're not listening to their pain points, then that's when resentment comes in. That's when, hey, I don't know what's going on. And also not sharing information. So if you're listening, you're able to share the right information so they can give them the right answer. That's where that guidance is needed. If there's someone who doesn't know the inner workings of an organization or how they work in particular, having someone there to be able to push them in the right direction of where they need to find the information will essentially help them and guide them in the right place so that they can be ultimately efficient at what they need to do. Let's go with number 6. All right, right here. So with no North Star, employees sailing to the rocks. I agree with that. So number 6 is having a vision and strategy for your team. If you blindly go in directions because someone else higher up were telling you what you need to do, or something of that manner, is like why? The question is always why. Yeah, we know how you want to get done, but why? Why is that really important? People need to know that. Even people who's working underneath your direct report, they need to know the why. That gives them the intentions of, being purposeful on their actions, because they know the why, they know what the vision, the strategy to get there. And ultimately, they're going to set in line because they're clear on what needs to be done. I think that's very vital to have as a leader, and very vital to be a person with vision in a management role. And then not only that, so yeah, you're talking about deliverables. I know they have another one here that says 7, career development and discuss performance and stuff. It's like if you have a vision based off of what you've been listening, because you've been listening to where their weak points are and so on, and you can share information on what they need to do, and you will also have a vision of like what they want to push their career and stuff. So that's why I didn't include like 7 in here, because I think 6 kind of like encapsulates that. And number 8, have the expertise to advise the team. If you're building something on Python, when you want someone who's like, yo, I've been there and done that before, I would want someone to say, I've been there and done that. I don't want someone to be like, well, let's ask Bradley. Ask Chuck. I have no clue. And let's see what it says in the excerpt, because I want to read that. So Google wants its managers to have technical skills like coding, etc., so they can share the been there and done that experience, like I just said, like literally what I just said. So be there, and do that to build out your core expertise wherever they might be. Stay current on the industry trends and read everything you can. So I'm in Salesforce, right? I do a lot of Salesforce development. Ultimately, I want to probably dive into other technologies and stuff, things that might integrate with Salesforce, or maybe not integrate at all, but just to learn things outside. I believe other than, Salesforce, there's other technologies out there that can definitely, come up and probably even overtake the industry at some point, because they become very, they have like a unique advantage in the space. So anything can shift at any point, and I really, really want to be able to capitalize on that and just say, I'm not a specialist just in Salesforce. I'm definitely an engineer who knows the basics of all these particular technologies and fundamentals of things. I can build out anything. You can ask me to build out anything. I can devise a team to build out anything. But ultimately, what I'm trying to get at is that I would want someone who's done Salesforce before and so on to be able to advise me, all right, this is the best practice. Hey, this is what's currently going on right now. Now go towards this to build this out. If you have any questions, I know Chuck is really great at this particular area. I read up a lot about it, but he actually did the implementation side. So I'm very, very much theoretical, but I know this is where you can do the articles, and you can also have someone to pair a program with. Be able to coordinate that and understand that is very important, because now, boom, like number 9 is like, it kind of leads into number 9, collaborate, but I didn't include this in a list of the most important things, but that helps with the collaboration. The question really is why we don't need managers in some case scenarios. So this kind of brings me back to